I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight on behalf of the Dharawal people. The land that we meet upon is Dharawal land. Our land extends from the other side of Sydney, up near Gosford, down to the Shoalhaven River, near Nowra. So it covers approximately 200 kilometres of coastline, but it goes inland to the Nadai Gorge, which is some 45 miles to the west of us. We have a diverse country. A lot of waterfalls exist here. The waterfalls in our country are primarily women's areas. The mountains in this country is primarily men's areas, but there are a couple of mountains here that belong to the women. Our people in this country, just a little bit of history. We live close to the coastline. We're fishermen. It's only in rough weather that we would eat wombat, echidna, and yellowfoot wallaby was the main diet, beside the many berries and fruits that exist on country. I'd like to acknowledge my elders, past, present, and those of the future. With my elders, excuse me, during the 70s and the 80s had achieved getting this premise. We didn't have a place for our people, and my mum was one of those, along with our auntie who's painting us up on the wall behind us. Auntie Mary Davis was very active in this community. And there's through political actions and a lot of submission writing that we got this centre to provide a legal service, training centre, a school for our people that couldn't read and write. We taught many of our elders to read and write here over several years. We developed a preschool, a play, and also a children's service. We had an employment agency, the CDEP, and operated here for 27 years. And it turned into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, and we were told by government that they shut it down. 3 businesses were established through our CDEP, but the government didn't even look at how our CDEP was functioning. It had employment for 200 people. So there's 200 families at the end of June in my community that would be unemployed. And this area, the Illawarra, has the highest unemployment rate nationally in Australia. It has the highest unemployment rate. The only industry here truly is mining. The coal companies are making a fortune here. The steel industry also is making a fortune, but it is soon will occur that they will move offshore. It's cheap operations for them. I'd like to also remind for our non-Aboriginal visitors tonight, this land is, and always will be Aboriginal land, is that there's never been a treaty discussed with our people. And what we continually are up against is governments changing laws to suit their benefit. We are the most marginalised and disadvantaged people in Australia, and yet nobody asks us for permission. They're tearing up our country. We may not be as affected as our brothers and sisters who are guests here tonight because of what's going to be happening on their country soon, if we can't have some say in trying to prevent this. So I'd like to welcome Diane Stokes from the Yuppa Yuppa group, of the Muckaty Land Trust. I'd like to also welcome Mark, can't pronounce your last name, bro. But Mark's also from Muckaty community as well, and Mark Lane, is there two Marks? Okay. And Mark is also from Cullen some community. I'd like to thank Matt for our introduction there, Matt. Thanks for that. I'm also thinking Arthur's coming, is he? Arthur Rollins. Gary Key from the Maritime Union of Australia. Late is he the secretary, is he local secretary? But I would like to thank especially Mr. Fred Moore for taking the time out to come here tonight, because Fred, back in the 50s, established a group here with our people from the Aboriginal settlement out at Kimadichi, what we know as the South Coast Aboriginal Advancement League. And he has been a tireless defender of Indigenous rights, and they done an amazing effort back during the 60s, obtaining signatures and raising awareness throughout the broader community about the social imbalance with Indigenous people. And it's through that we've seen a major support in the Australian community of over 90% of Australians voted in support of Indigenous Australia becoming citizens and having the right to vote federally. Since then, what we've seen is reversal of that. The spirit of Australia at that time was more one of give everybody a fair go. Is what we see today is it's all about economic rationing, is what profits they can make for the infrastructures that they feel we need. Is government has lost sight of community in terms of that. We elect them in to put things in place that we feel is appropriate, and governments totally ignore that. Now, I remember recently in Canberra, at the anniversary of the apology, when it was raised there regarding what's happening up in the Territory. We raided the courthouse on the first day of Parliament. On the second day, we walked into Parliament and disrupted Parliament over the intervention, and that caused the government to rethink what was going to happen on the third day. So every group that was down there that wanted to talk to government, they got a fair hearing. And it was at that moment that when we did sit down with Jenny Macklin, I realised we were dealing with a racist minister. Not one word we said to that person about the impact that they were having on our communities throughout Australia, and the fact that so many of our people will be further disadvantaged. With redundancy comes depression sometimes. And we know more about it than anybody, the impact that it has on our people. With these jobs, even though there was only 3 days a week, there were 3 less days that our people were drinking. At least they was contributing to the community. Here we have governments telling big industries, just don't sack your employees. And yet they're sacking every Aboriginal person who is employed. This is where I find it is we're in difficult times, and we need the support of non-Aboriginal Australia because we are a minority, and we realise that. But we need the strength there for you to get in behind us and to fight what's going on. Now, we live in an area where they're transporting this uranium. What we've seen just in the last couple of weeks was an act of stealth, where the government, in the early hours of the morning, transported uranium rods, or spent rods, from Lucas Heights down the mountain, down to Port Kembla, and attempted to load, well, they did load the ship, but in the first lifting the ship listed. It was a very dangerous operation. Now, had it gone wrong, those rods would have been sitting in our harbour, and we would not know what marine damage that could have caused. But it is something that, should they get their way with the Muckaty people, they will be transported on a regular basis. So we have a right in this community to try and stop that. So with that, I'd like to welcome you all to country. Thank you.